Oh, hi, welcome to Now Tell Us. This is a program where guests come and tell us an interesting story, an inspiring story, an educative story. And today we have a guest with us who is quite interesting. And she's going to tell us on how to think in goals and maybe much more than that. And I'm not going to take any one more minute, but I'm going to introduce to the show Katie Chonacas. Welcome to the
Hi,
show, Katie.
hi, Anthony. Thank you so much for having me. Thank
Hi,
you.
how are
Thank
you?
you. Good.
Yes,
Thank
I,
you.
I I got you thinking. I got you thinking.
Yeah, I'm excited for an
Yeah,
impactful episode. Thank you.
yes. So here at Now Tell Us, we would like to know much more about you. So maybe from where you were born, how you grew up, in brief. The show is yours.
Sure.
Now tell us.
Sure. My pleasure. Thank you for the person listening and tuning in. I appreciate you being here and hearing some of my story. I was raised in Michigan. My father, his mom and dad came over from the old country.
Hmm. I think we have an issue with the network.
Oh, it's saying it's restoring connection. Is that good?
Now we are back.
Okay. Okay, cool. So my grandparents came over from the old country, and my mom and dad met very young, and they were basically kids having kids, and they were doing the American dream, and they were working 40 hours a week full time, providing for the family, which I have three siblings. So my mom and dad had one big Greek family with four kids. And so I grew up very independent, and my dad was a cross country runner, and he turned me on to cross country running, which gave me the mindset of short term, medium term, and long term goals, and what you do as an individual affects the whole. And we can dive into that, the psychology of goals, which is really exciting because I love talking and sharing about that, with people, and how it's really formalized my life. And when I was a kid, I didn't realize I was in the school of life, and it was sports. Being an athlete was preparing me for quote unquote the real world, but it
Hmm.
so did through sports. So, God willing, when I have children, when if it's meant to be, I think it's really important for the youth um, to have that strong foundation, even if they go Olympian pro or not, but to have
Hmm.
that core foundation as a youngster to prepare you for, this big, beautiful world. So,
Hmm.
in addition, I was around a lot of Greek literature, language, and, in the church, and icons and saints and Greek mythology and goddesses and gods, and, philosophers and Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. So I had this literature, and
Hmm.
I had a lot of space since my parents were working, full
Hmm.
time after school, after cross country. I had independent space to explore, to get in trouble, but to also, discover and listen to that little voice within, which was ancient wisdom that has guided me through my life thus far.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful. Now, looking at your profile, I discover that you are an actor and you've been on TV, on film, and you've actually worked together with Antonio Banderas. That's how you say it. Al Pacino, Nicolas Cage, Morgan Freeman. Now, this is interesting. Tell us a bit more about that.
Sure,
Mm.
sure. I mean, just cutting to the, to the core of it. There was
Mhm.
a lot of preparation that happened for me to be in those positions,
Mhm.
and there was a lot of shots that I took that just missed the mark, or, it wasn't, the right fit or right opportunity. But when those moments came, and those grand moments came, there were probably 99 other moments that, aren't on the resume that people don't hear or see about.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of faith and prayer a lot of showing up, a lot of work to make those things happen. And when they happen, I'm on set and everything's very professional. And, there could be 30 people on set or hundreds of people on set. And, I'm signing contracts and I'm on set and I'm doing the work. And then it might come out a few weeks later on TV, or the film, maybe you don't see it till a year later, or you don't know when it's coming out. It's an independent film. So it's never the same. It's always changing. It's always different. And I guess that's one of the things I love about life and entertainment is the expectations of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely had some amazing moments, like I remember working with Morgan Freeman in Bulgaria and Sofia, and they had studios there. They probably still do have studios there. I haven't been there in a while, but just knowing him from what everyone may know about him, and just seeing the essence of him, it was just great as an actor, as a human, just to have a bird's eye view and just observe his essence, his
Mm-hmm.
presence of who he was, and just being great, like soaking up this energy, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
soaking up this energy, just art, and then just having this collective energy to know, like, it was a moment in time that I can
Mm-hmm.
always, like, in the moment appreciate, but now reflect and look and remember those, and pay homage and honor those moments. So I kind of done that with Nicolas Cage, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Jessica Simpson, like Pink, Jennifer Lopez, like, Ariana Grande, Rita Ora, all these, amazing people that I've been able to be in the presence of and work with.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such an honor, especially Jennifer Aniston, because she's Greek and I'm Greek. So that was really cool. I did an Emirates commercial with her, and I met her hairstylist, Chris McMillan, and his assistant at the time, Peter Lambden, was there. And he did that famous Rachel the Bob. And I remember when
Mm-hmm.
they had their, like, 20-year anniversary of Friends, of the Bob. And I'm like, oh my God, like, he did my hair, and then they invited me into the hair salon, Chris McMillan Hair Salon, and I went in there after, and I had Peter Lambden do my hair a couple times. So and then you hear stories, and Chris McMillan was telling me how, Jen Atkin, who is amazing and such a great soul and being, she's from Utah, and she's gone off to do amazing things in the hair world with her career and life. And just to be able to, like, sow seeds and watch people bloom has just been a grand, beautiful experience for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
But he was telling me how he gave her first job as an assistant, like answering phones, like when she was 18. And then she
Mm-hmm.
went off to, like, do all these great things, Jen Atkin. And so it's like, it's cool when you hear these stories,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So those are some of the
Which has been your best moment? I mean, like, okay, you can give us a title of a movie or a commercial or a whatever. What has been your best so far that you sit down and wonder, oh, did I just do that?
mm,
Mm.
mm, wow. Okay. The more I meditate, one came up, then two came up, then three came up. But
We would like
I'll
to hear.
just um I mean, one that comes up was Pink. Like, her second biggest song is Who Knew? But
Mm.
Sober and Who Knew, I think those are her biggest songs. But I was the lead in that music video, Who Knew? And Samuel Bayer was the director, and he is or was a legend in music video, like doing Teen Spirit, Nirvana, and, like, Zombie by the Cranberries. And so, like, I was working with him, and that was so cool and so legendary because I love those songs growing up. And
Mm-hmm.
then after that music video, he went on to shoot his first feature film. And so when he was directing me, it was like we were shooting a film. It was a 2-day music video, but it feels like a short film. So if anyone who watches Pink Who Knew will see what I'm talking about. And so I reflect on that, and that's really exciting because, like, I love music and I do play and do music. So that was really special to my heart, of Nirvana, Kurt Cobain. And then the other thing, another one that comes up is Werner Herzog, like ranked top 35 filmmaker in the world. And when I booked the role on the Bad Lieutenant port of call in New Orleans, he wanted to personally call me and invite me to go to Louisiana to play the movie. He didn't have to. I've
Mm-hmm.
been booked on other projects, and it's just great. Gratefully, I love talking to my agents and, booking projects, from my team. But to have the director call me, like, want to call me. I was doing Streets of Blood on another movie with Val Kilmer, 50 Cent, and Sharon Stone. It was in
Mm-hmm.
Shreveport doing a movie, and the producer called me like, they knew I was wrapping off set, going to my hotel, and he wanted to call me. And I hear his accent and his voice and the way he spoke, and I was just standing, on my bedside by the end table on the hotel phone in Shreveport, Louisiana. And I just felt like Joan Crawford. My jaw just dropped. And I'm just like, I would be honored to
Mm-hmm.
come to Louisiana to work with you and Nicolas Cage. Yes, yes, yes. And so those were some pretty prolific moments. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, you have been, or you grew up in sports, loving sports, doing sports. You're in movie, and you love music. What else do you do? What else do you do on a big scale like these two?
I'm in
Do you
Web
have
three.
something else?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm a painter. I'm a poet. I doodle. I work in Web3 on the blockchain with NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So I'm a female identifying person in the space. I've been involved in blockchain and NFT since 2018. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals of who I am, I pivoted and shifted all of my attention from web 2 and all my artistry into web 3, and I lead with mental health and sharing and paving the way for others, for the psychology of life, not in a very gated way or a gatekeeping way, very closed-minded way. I've always been open, and I feel like a lot of people are pivoting and shifting into that mind frame, which is super healthy and abundant for all, so we
Mm-hmm.
can hold hands and do it together, instead of feeling isolated and alone and shamed and blamed, and feeling like we have to do everything our own and insecure about sharing our weakest link. And I'm like, no, let me tell you my weakest link. So,
Mm-hmm.
someone can pick it up and help me and say, hey, let me take that off your back so I can focus on what's light for me, what's exciting for me, and let me find out like your weakest link. And so I can nourish and water that for you. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I think that's like really beautiful and healthy. And I've always been that way. So, in Web3, I feel like I really connect with more people who are like that.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does. And that's very wonderful. Okay, now tell us
Yeah.
all about goals, a short term, medium, and long term. How to go about it?
Perfect.
How should we think about it? And how should we achieve using those thinking methods?
Yeah, a few things stop me, ask questions, will just be, but I'll just kind of jump spring. So the most important thing is two things right now is I call it an 80-20 rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I've had coaches my whole life, and when I coach myself and then when I industry coach for others, it's an 80-20. So you may see me and say, "Oh my god, you have so much energy. Like you have so much energy." So
Yes, you
and
do. You do.
see, but instead of 100% at my 80 or at your 80, we're all different with our energy, and we're all different from our boundaries and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get to my 80, I check in and I'm just like, "Okay, how am I feeling right now?" And if I'm like, "Okay, I'm done," like I'll just be like, I'm done and I'll just stop, whatever. And or I'll have to reschedule or cancel or just say, if I'm somewhere, thank you for the opportunity. It's been amazing. I need to leave now. Graciously. And that's it. And if someone's like, oh, can you just stay a little longer? And I'm just like, this is my 100. Like, I did what I could do. I said I would be here till 5. I'm here till 5. I have to go. However, if it becomes 5 o'clock and I'm checking in with my 80, but I feel excited, I have more energy and I want to stay longer, and maybe there aren't priorities later the next day, I may be like, you know what? Yeah, I can stay, for a bit longer, maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock, or maybe I can gift 5 to 10% of my energy more. Not that you're speaking in those terms to people. I'm speaking in terms of that to myself. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is great. Maybe I can stay on for another 10 minutes, or maybe I can stay on so I'm going to be like, because I'm feeling revitalized. I'm feeling okay. I can go past my 100, which is my 80, right? Or not. So I always want to check in at 80 as if that's my 100. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel that burnout so I don't overfill my cup with exhaustion and then not honor myself, and then I can't do my best work or things of that nature, you know. So
Mhm.
I like to leave the 20% clear. So it doesn't matter if it's lighting candles, taking a bath, crying, reading, calling someone, sitting in solitude, taking a walk, like no matter what it is, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
screaming, dancing, taking a bike ride. Just I always feel it's important when doing something to always leave that 20% for self. Even if there's nothing there, just leave space for nothing. And in that nothingness, when we can definitely empty our vessels and
Mhm.
have space for the nothingness, allow it to deteriorate and flow like the ocean and like a cloud pass and away, and just hold that space for self, for the undiscovered, we can discover what may come up, even if it's
Mhm.
nothing, but just
Mhm.
allowing that space for silence and solitude, right?
Yeah.
To connect with self at a core level,
Mhm.
to, realign our neurotransmitters, to realign to homeostasis, to be balanced, to empty our vessel, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then the other thing is, for example, I have a poetry book called A Lover's Fairy Tale. And
Okay.
so what happened was my birthday was coming up 11/11, and normally I'm like, where's one place in the world that I want to go that I haven't been? Right. And I'm a kid in a candy store and I've always been very adventurous and I just go. I
Mhm.
just make the choice. I take the intuitive hit and I just do it. Everything else will fall into place. Everything else after that excitement is negative thoughts, you talking yourself out of what you want to do, FOMO, fear, all that, fear of missing out, fear of all these things, analytical, judging yourself, trying to plan it. No,
Mhm.
listen to the intuitive hit, run with that. So it was with what's happening in the world. I wasn't traveling a lot. So I pivoted the quality of the question.
Mhm.
Instead of where where's one place that I want to go to that I haven't been, I said, what's one thing that I've always wanted to do that I haven't done yet? And I
Mhm.
always wanted to be a published poet. And I've had articles published on a Huffington Post, Thrive Global, things of that nature, but I didn't have all those beautiful books that you have. Like I didn't have my own physical book, and I thought like, oh, I would have like multiple books by now, right? And I
Yeah.
didn't. So for my birthday, as a gift to myself, I said I'm going to become a published author. That's the gift to myself. And
Mhm.
so for what I did then, that was the choice. So first is making a commitment, a choice, playing with curiosity of what we want to do and not putting a label on it, but just getting that intuitive hit of this is what I wanted to do. And this is
Mhm.
what I've always wanted to do. And so since I made that choice, that thought, that commitment, and it excited me, I followed the excitement. I followed the excitement. And then the next thing was I gave myself a hard stop, a target. I gave
Mhm.
myself a hard stop. And within that hard stop, I gifted myself. I thought, with doing everything that's, calculating in my mind, researching this and this and that, 3 months. I gave myself 3 months.
Okay.
And then and then soon after I started doing the research, I started learning about book formatting and this and the images that I wanted to go with it and the font and all the details for a book. And then while I was doing that research and looking up other poets who are kind of similar to me and discovering and having a playful, fun time with that and reading poetry and exploring poetry and literature and things of that later nature and collecting it, I realized, wow, in 3 months while I was on that journey, it's going to be spring. And World Poetry Day is March 21st. So I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, there's my date. I didn't have a date. I had a hard stop of 3 months. And naturally, 3 months would have been around um World Poetry Day. So I'm like, World Poetry Day, which happens to be my parents' anniversary too. So I'm
Mhm.
like, World Poetry Day, March 21st, that's the targeted date. And everything to then was just like sewing and working with the book formatter and getting the approval from the photographer that I could use the images. um and the back and forth with the formatting and getting it exactly how I wanted and testing it through Amazon and KDB Publishing. And I
Mm-hmm.
became a self published poet. And so that's a great example, I feel, of short term, medium term, and long term goals and having the idea and then following through with it no matter what. Now I look back at that book and
Mm-hmm.
there are a couple of typos, but guess what? It's okay. Start messy, don't have the imposter syndrome. Start
Mm-hmm.
messy, show up, do your best. And guess what? I'm on to the next book. I'm going to go. And now I know what it's like. And while I was doing the first book, I already put together the second book. Although I
Mm-hmm.
haven't published it yet, I already started putting it together. And so now I'm excited to make, but the thing is, the number one thing is making a hard stop. Because I didn't make a hard stop for the second book, I haven't published it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're saying good because there are those people who are always waiting for that perfect day to get started on a project, on an idea that they have in mind. But when you came to that decision that, yes, I've got to get started on something that I have not done, and I'm going to give myself, and you just went into action. Now, the other dates were coming where you're already in the process. And that's, I mean, someone said that once you step in, the universe opens doors that you could not have imagined. And I guess that's what happened to you.
1000%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my motto in life is since I was a kid, I had this rectangular orange sticker with black font with the swoosh. Just do it. Nike. I'm
Mm-hmm.
Greek.
Mm-hmm.
Victorious people. Nikki. It's a Greek rooted word to win. Just
Okay.
do it. If we go around getting validation and asking everyone about it, we're going to listen to everyone else's thoughts. But if
Mm-hmm.
you just go within and do what you want to do, knowing and understanding your moral compass, your values, and you're within your own integrity, and even if you don't, because I questioned that for a while and finding my own moral compass of my integrity of not feeling shame and blamed of how something should look or how something should be. Because when we come into the world, we're told a story, we're told how it should be, and then we believe it to be true. But
Yeah.
that's someone else's story that we bought into, that we trusted, that someone that loved us, that someone that told them, that someone that loved them. And so it's generational, right? But
Mm-hmm.
having a blank canvas and creating our own story and putting what we want thus far onto that canvas with intuition by, first and foremost, with our own prayer, our own integrity, putting it onto the canvas, we can always take it off, but let's put
Mm-hmm.
it on. And then we can look at what other people have told us and the bags we have piled up of what we were taught and say, hey, I want to take this out of this bag. I want to take this out of this, and I'm going to put that onto the canvas. But the rest of the stuff, I'm going to recycle it. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you, but those don't serve me. It's okay. No
Mm-hmm.
shaming or blaming it. It's just not for me. And sometimes we need to move in silence and not communicate because other people, it'll hurt their feelings. And we don't want to hurt
Mm-hmm.
other people's feelings because when we hurt other people's feelings, they feel unloved and we all just want to be loved. And when we hurt other people's feelings, then we hurt our feelings because then we're hurting someone and we don't want to hurt someone and we don't want to hurt ourselves. But sometimes we can just move away with it and just focus on one thing because we only can focus on one thing at a time. So if we
Yeah.
just take those feelings and just pivot it to something we want to focus on, then give that our attention. So if there's
Mm-hmm.
100% of something, if we're focusing on that 1% or 5% of the people that don't approve, on the what ifs that I heard from other people, if we focus that, which are minds, we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts, according to Dr. Joe Dispenza. We can go on a cycle and just think about obsessively that 1% of that 5%, and it dilutes and takes all the energy away from the other 95%, 99% that we could be focusing on. So
Mm-hmm.
let's like take the unconscious, right? And be
Mm-hmm.
conscious and dictate, direct where our attention and energy is going.
Yeah.
And when we need and want to do something, a lot of times I don't tell people. I just do it. Like you said earlier, in action.
Mm-hmm.
I just take action and I do it because I know me and I know I'm being protected,
Mm-hmm.
and I know I've learned what I learned and I know I'm grateful for what's been taught to me thus far. And I realize I'm a sovereign being this is my life and I
Mm,
get to do what I want to do. And
mm,
no one, not even myself, can judge me.
mm. Beautiful. And now, since we've had all the accomplishments that you've made in every area that you've talked to us about, but then you mentioned that is only now, recently, it's not even 1 year since you became an author. That means there's too much,
Mhm.
if I got it right,
It's
yeah,
been,
there's
it's
too
been,
much
it's
ahead
been.
of you. What else do you have in mind that you could do in the near future?
Oh, I mean, we just got great news. I'm on season 4 of my popular podcast called She's All Over the Place. We have over 80 episodes. As of last week, we're top 1.5% of all podcasts globally out of almost 3 million podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm an independent podcaster. I grew it from the ground up. I hold space. I'm doing a women empowerment series right now. So I'm really excited about that. My goal is to be a household name on TV and in film now. I've,
Mm-hmm.
worked in it. I've done a lot of other things, but now I want to be consistent as a household name. And I do voiceovers every day for my work. I do video games, commercials, animations, and TV and film. So I want to be a household name in an animation series, Blood of Zeus. It's on Netflix. I want
Mm-hmm.
to be a series regular on Blood of Zeus. That would be a great goal for me.
Whoa. And there's no limit to what you can achieve. Someone was saying that the sky is the limit, and then we came to discover that there is actually nothing tangible called a sky. So there is no limit up there.
Limitless.
Yeah. So you keep going, and with the energy that we see in you, we know that you are going to do wonders in the near future. And you're still young, by the way. You're still young. So as we can tell, so the world is ahead of you, and go and explore it and become the best that you can be. And it's possible for you.
Same thing for you, Anthony. I wish the same thing for you and for the person tuning in. My friend earlier said on a Twitter, on a tweet, she said, um, "You're never too old to start your dreams." And I retweeted it, and she's
Mm,
right. You're never too old to start your dreams. If people think, "Oh, I'm too old," it's what someone taught them. It's what they're
mm,
conditioned that they're by a certain age they're supposed to do something.
mm,
But it's not true. It's a lie. We've been lied to. Um, every day is a gift. We are
mm.
here as independent people,
Yeah.
and every single day is a gift. And that's the beautiful thing about life. There's so much to discover. So when you're interested, you're interesting. And when we take
Mm.
one step, we can take the next step.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
most people, a lot of people ruminate and they numb themselves with the TV. I don't watch TV. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't watched TV in I can't even tell you. I only stream. When I wanna watch a film or a TV show, I sit
Mm-hmm.
down and I binge and I watch it, and I'm done. I don't watch the news. It's just the same stuff over and over. I don't pol It's quantum detoxification. It's toxicity.
Yeah.
The language, the word, the power of the word, the
Mm-hmm.
Bible, the word, the power of the word, literature, the sound, the vibration of who is listening and tuning in, who is seeing me, who is watching us right now. It's a responsibility of what we say, and it goes into the soul and spirit on a cellular level of another human being. We're
Mm-hmm.
human beings. And it's so I like to share my words of light, love, and positivity with compassion and grace, no matter what has happened in life. And because it's a choice to show up, it's a choice to practice, it's a choice to be living. And we are here on this planet to live, period.
Mm. Exactly. Exactly. And again, when I remember some book that I read is known as The Science of Getting Rich by Walter. You've read that?
Wallace D. Waddles, I read it.
Yeah. And there's so much that we can share together because even before I go to that, I also don't watch TV. I don't watch the news, and because I need to have the control of what I'm getting into me. It's not what they are going to give into me, but what I'm getting into me. And one of the things that we should always do, as we are seeing here, is that we should always read much and get into us, something that is going to build our thinking, our mind, and even what we do physically is going to be affected by the mind, because everything starts from the mind. Now, where I was going in talking about the science of getting rich, says that the biggest gold mine in the world has never been discovered, which is true. I mean, every single day they are saying they've discovered a gold mine somewhere. So it means there's still some big chunk of gold that has not been discovered. And this is why,
Infinite.
yeah,
Yes, it's infinite. It
yeah, it's
is
infinite.
infinite, and it
Uh-huh.
is there. It's that's the miracle of life.
Mm-hmm.
The unexpected and the unknown. What's
Yeah.
done is done. What we know is from what people has collectively said.
Mm-hmm.
However, podcasting, we can demystify and we can honor what was, but then we can create an opportunity to break down the old. We can mold and create the new. This
Yeah.
is all new energy. You have your history, your ancestors, or who you are, where you come from, and your collective knowledge that you bring today. And
Mm-hmm.
I the same. And then we make an impact and we share, even if it's just you and me on this podcast right now. We
Yeah.
are connected and it's an exchange of energy. And I will take it along with me where I go. And I hope you will as well. And that's the part about the exchange of energy and making an impact to shape shift, because we're going to continue on our journeys of life,
Mm.
whether people understand that or not. But I love how you were saying, like, with the Wallace D. Waddles, The Science of Getting Rich, I listened to it on audio. I listen to a lot of audiobooks for people out there who, some people can't read, some people have ADHD, sometimes it's hard to read or books can be expensive. But in America, there's Overdrive. It's an app,
Mm-hmm.
Overdrive, and you can download up to 30 audiobooks per month for free with the library card. It takes 30 seconds. And I, a lot of times, because with scripts, I'm reading over 100-page scripts, or if I'm reading a lot, and just me, I'm a visual, sensorial person. I like to just tune in, take a bath, be on the bed, just listen to a podcast, listen to audiobooks. I
Mm-hmm.
listen on YouTube to a lot of audiobooks for free. I listen to The Science of Getting Rich on audio for free.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's whoever's having an excuse of, I just hacked that for you. Hack. If
Mm.
something is stopping you, it's called a hack. Just go around it, cut through it, and move on.
Yeah.
Anything that keeps coming up, write down all the reasons why one can't, and then go around it
Mm-hmm.
and
Exactly.
hack it, pivot, and shift it. And
Yeah.
another hack is that if something takes me 10 minutes or less, I do it right then and there, or else the pile will be like over 500. So anything
Mm-hmm.
that ever since I was a kid, I don't know where I learned this, but anything that takes 10 minutes or 15 minutes or less, I do it right then and there.
You
Because
don't
then
wait
there's
for
a,
you don't wait for the next minute. You just do it now and finish with it. That's
yeah,
the short-term goal. Yeah.
because there's just going to be this irritation that just keeps coming up. I'm going to get this irritation that it's like getting a shock in my body. It's like
Mm-hmm.
irritating, and I don't want to keep creating that and then create those bad fibers in my body. I'm so
Mm-hmm.
sensitive. I feel that, and then we numb ourselves, like with the TV, we numb ourselves out so
Yeah.
we don't have to deal with the truth, not our truth, not someone else's truth, but you know there's the universal truth, right? But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us are stopped from the egoic mind of what we think our truth or someone else's truth is. But when we actually show up to deal with it, we're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. It was just all in my mind.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So we really appreciate your presence here and what you've shared with us, and reminded us that we should think in goals, short term, medium term, and long term goals, and just do it. And I mean, we like the energy that you have, and we would like to have that energy.
I'll come back on anytime.
Yeah. So before you come back, where can people get you? Tell
Oh,
us
yeah.
how they can find you.
Yeah, my website, Chonacas.com.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's my last name, Chonacas. Chonacas.com is my website, and everything's there. How to get in contact with me, all the projects I've done, everything I'm up to, and all my social media handles and everything. I'm on all the platforms.
Yeah, and if you would like to remind the listener or the viewer, could he or she be expecting once they come to you that maybe you can get on running, like personal coaching and podcast? What would you be interested for them coming after you or to you?
Oh yeah, I mean just the podcast, she's all over the place podcast. There's over 80 episodes. They're very valuable content, entertaining. I have great guests on. So I just like to add value and hack so I can share my experience, not that it's right or wrong, but just
Mm-hmm.
what I've experienced thus far. And hey, if something took me 5 years, but now with, being in 2022, it takes you 5 days or 5 hours, cool. I want to be, in service and a beacon of light to pave the way for others, because I know what it's like feeling isolated and alone and not having mentors and people to help me and look up to me in certain ways that I thought that I needed and wanted. And so
Mm-hmm.
I hope I could be that for others.
Beautiful. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
but if people want to support me, I mean, I have merch on my store. So
Oh.
in the store, I have merch. Yeah, I mean, I have merch like coffee mugs,
Uh-huh.
t-shirts, like a bunch of cool, fun merch lines. So definitely support by getting some merch and wearing it around and tagging it on social media and things like that. That'd be fun.
Oh, beautiful. So we are going to tag your website and they are going
Okay.
to hop onto your website and they will get to have a look there and they will decide what they want to follow up with.
Yeah, and
That would
maybe
be
your
cool.
book club, you'll have some mugs from my poetry book, A Lover's Fairy Tale.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
have mugs like,
beautiful.
poetry and coffee.
Yeah. So that's wonderful. And we are coming to the end of the show. What would you tell us, your last parting shot, as we would say?
Yeah, two quick things. One, just do it. We've talked about that. And two, Caroline Myss, Myss. She's a mystic intuitive. She has a TED talk on YouTube. It's called Choices: The Power of the Choice. I would definitely watch it. People think our macro choices. People think breaking up with someone, moving is a macro choice, is a big choice. Actually, it's micro. um the macro choices is something so small. If I'm going to take a drink of water, or
Mm-hmm.
if I'm going to what time I'm going to wake up, those small choices throughout our day that we think are so small, those are the macro choices. But her voice is beautiful. She has so many books on overdrive, and she is the voice of them. So she's amazing. Caroline Myss, Myss. I would check out her TED talk on YouTube.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We appreciate that, and we appreciate you being on our podcast. Thank you very much, and to the viewers too. Uh, let's keep on moving. Let's keep on being inspired and doing things. Let's do it.
Let's
Thank
do
you.
it. Love that.
Let's
Just
do
do it.
it.
Love it.
Let's
In
do it.
spirit, inspire. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Katie. Bye.
Definitely.
Yeah.